And we are all set now for the 2018 Formula One season. It's lights out and away we go. It's a good start from Hamilton. Raikkonen comes across, cuts off Sebastian Vettel. Verstappen's in the hunt as well. Hamilton will lead them in.
With Verstappen tucked up behind Magnussen. Oh, he's round. He's lost it.
And Grosjean's got past and Ricciardo's got past, and here comes the Renault as well.
Got to get themselves sorted out. Kimi Raikkonen in, and he will definitely... Oh no!
Kimi Raikkonen out and has hit one of the mechanics.
And left rear wheels.
What is Leclerc's problem? And is Leclerc actually going to go for it here? And oh, he can't stop! And he has gone straight on into...
He had to, and eventually Verstappen...
Oh, and it's a massive crash! It's Brendan Hartley! And he's got tangled up with Lance Stroll! And coming out of that chicane, Hartley got squeezed up at
5. I'm a little bit surprised Brendan was out there, to be honest, but not as surprised as Lance Stroll was, clearly.
There is a packed grandstand of Lance Stroll supporters down at the hairpin, and the local hero didn't even get the chance to race past them.
Stroll got some oversteer in the middle of the corner. The back end stepped out. He had to countersteer. He had to turn into the slide, just like you do on an icy road, and that took him into the path of Brendan Hartley. Hartley pushing his luck on the outside of turn 5, I must say, at the beginning of a race. Full tanks of fuel, 105 kilograms. Lewis Hamilton, and look, Bottas much braver on the brakes. We lock up and knock him out of the race on board the Ferrari, and there's everybody else making hay while that particular sun was shining. And that was then Gasly dropping the back end of the car and just oversteering and sliding into Ocon, who was minding his own business.
Yeah, Hülkenberg just ahead of him. Perez is a lock-up from Raikkonen. And then he's sent spinning around is Esteban Ocon, no fault of his. We can see it more clearly now with Pierre Gasly on board.
Well, there was already some damage to the Force India. It was sparking away, wasn't it? So Ocon changed sides of the track, and Gasly couldn't slow down fast enough to do anything about it.
You can see there, contact at the back, Ocon and Gasly. You've got Marcus Ericsson taking to the runoff area. You've got Lance Stroll taking to the runoff area. Stoffel Van Dorn as well, all trying to keep out of trouble. The good thing here, Martin, is they can keep out of trouble. That might take us through to the end of the race. Ooh, that's never a good sign. But to the right-hand side, oh, there's an engine failure for Nico Hülkenberg. You saw the puffs of smoke, and they continue, and he wants to now get that car off the track. As through comes Sergei Sorokin, can barely see on the way into turn 1, and we've got a fire as well at the rear of that Renault. Nico Hülkenberg towards finish. Vettel from Bottas and Hamilton. Hamilton's gone round and he's clashed, and Kimi Raikkonen involved as well. That is massive disappointment for the... Sebastian Vettel, the race leader, just coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Oh!
Plays into, I would say it plays into Vettel's hands nicely if he can get in the pits, if they think they're going to be tyre limited. Dropped it on the way in.
It's a big moment for the Swede though, Martin. I mean, some of the speed will have got scrubbed off, but that's still a fairly heavy impact, isn't it?
He turned in from the white line, maybe a little bit of extra curve, but that's what happens when you're a racing driver.
Qualifying as well, and out of this race, and we can see why. Sainz on the outside squeezes Grosjean and then gets hit by him.
That could have been an airplane crash. They were very lucky there. Sainz was lucky that didn't go over. It does look like he came across to squeeze him to the apex.
Didn't give him enough room, did he?
What was the first sound there? There was a first sound before they made contact. I need to see that again.
There was no room on the inside for Romain Grosjean, and a huge cloud of dust ascending into the sky as two Formula One cars career over the gravel and into the barriers at Copse.
He's locked up, going into the hairpin. Here it is.
So Vettel into the Sachs curve, and there is no runoff area there once you go wide, and that is bitter disappointment for Sebastian Vettel, who retires from the lead of a race for the 5th time in his career, and retires at Hockenheim for the first time in... Daniel Ricciardo, for instance, in Monaco. This time he's
clear of him now, but Bottas trying to break up the inside, and with those fancy mirrors on the Ferrari. And it's lights out, and away we go here at Spa. Hamilton gets away well. Perez has
in Formula One, now is a chance to look, because Fernando Alonso very well protected from what could have been a very nasty incident. Okay. He got hit from behind by Hulkenberg, didn't he?
Yes, he did. So yeah, it was an innocent bystander in that, was Fernando Alonso. He gets a thump now and spun around and cleared. Look at this mess that's made of the side of that McLaren. Again, it'll take, so the safety car will go through the pit lane so it doesn't take the pack around where all the debris is. So what we're about to see is Hulkenberg get too deep on the brakes, locked up, and boom.
Wow, just could not stop in time. Nico Hulkenberg going straight into the rear of Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc suddenly sees orange across his visor. And Fernando Alonso out, Charles Leclerc losing his.
They're side by side, look at Hamilton alongside Vettel. Oh, so close, he'll struggle to get round there.
They touch Martin, Hamilton and Vettel has been spun round. Disaster for some.
On the outside, normally 9 times out of 10 it'd be the car on the outside that ended up getting turned around. But he squeezed, I mean, he was on the racetrack. Hamilton did not leave the racetrack at any point. And you wonder why Vettel felt, he obviously got pinched and turned in a little bit. Bottas then drops, here we go.
Verstappen's looking his mirrors, where is he? Moves over there and touches. Now.
He touched me on the left wheel.
So, did Verstappen move over into Bottas there?
Yeah.
You said, Martin, you're not allowed to move around in the first 3 corners. Verstappen ahead of Sebastian Vettel into the wall. Goes Esteban Ocon. Did he make contact with his teammate Sergio Perez? Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez, his teammate. You've got Grosjean on the left-hand side. Now they're going to wheel, the 2 Force Indians, and yes, they did touch. So there was contact. Stoffel Van Dorn was the McLaren that had to take evasive action. This is Pierre Gasly, not at the start, but just a few moments ago, down at turn 4. Brendan Hartley, his teammate, has had a spin. Here you go. Down at turn. Comments in his ears already. And that is Kevin Magnussen with a puncture and the rear left tyre hanging on very precariously indeed. Now, what has happened to Kevin Magnussen in the opening stages here? And will this necessitate a safety car if that rubber comes off?
When he does it.
Wasn't this track where they changed his name from Kobayashi to Kobayashi? Quite frankly, as through and smooth goes Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen, and Sebastian Vettel has come off worse as the 2 cars make contact. It is all happening to Verstappen at the moment. He makes contact with a Ferrari and he gets a 5-second penalty. He makes contact with the next Ferrari and he spins Vettel around.
And he didn't have to do
it back. Vettel outbroke himself just a little bit, and it's now going to be nip and tuck as there's more contact down at turn 12 and another car spinning off. As Ricciardo into Sebastian Vettel. They've rammed each other. Sebastian Vettel, as it happened at Suzuka, has now been spun 180 in the lap. There's Esteban Ocon going down the inside of Carlos Sainz, and with that the 2 Hasses coming together. There's Leclerc and Grosjean, and then Lance Stroll going into Fernando Alonso. So just ahead is Kevin Magnussen, and now Alonso going into Stroll.
I don't know how much damage I have. These guys are impossible to race with. Impossible. And they cannot do the stars like this, you know. You cannot go into the corners crashing with other cars.
Right, well, he won't be doing it next year, obviously, but not happy about that today. There's Charles Leclerc after having been made contact. I think that could have been by Romain Grosjean down there, and there's Vettel spinning around.
It just seems to defy the laws of physics with Vettel. It happened in Monza when he hit Hamilton. The Ferrari always goes round when it gets a touch on the front axle.
Grosjean outbroke himself, and that's why he hit Charles Leclerc.
Grosjean's fault completely.
Yeah, that kid's is not the way to do it, as you can tell.
Oh, past him, and the Force India has hit him. Unfortunately, I can't see it, and then just watching it on board here, not really sure what the Force India was trying to do at that point on a back marker.
That was Esteban Ocon. Apologies to Sergio Perez. It was Ocon down there. Here's the onboard with Max Verstappen. Down the inside he goes.
What an idiot! What an idiot!
Makes the corner, but Leclerc really fancied with some top speed down there, a move, and that is the Renault of Hulkenberg going over and over and over and out of this race. And that is Nico Hulkenberg this race.
He should be absolutely fine. no gravel trap there for anything to dig into. And as long as they...
Carlos Sainz, so Hulkenberg and Grosjean there, tangling. It was on the exit of the chicane. Grosjean tried to fight back. He just clipped the underside of that Renault, sending it into the barrel roll.
I don't think Grosjean did revving there, so he's got a little bit wide and just wouldn't give up on it. Just a little touch on the grass. And with the front and rear in like that, that's a huge amount of damage, and wrecks his teammate's lap, of course.
Toto Wolff injured his hand, session suspended, and Paul, there was absolutely nothing he could do. The car just went on under braking, just stepped out from underneath him.
When you have spectacular ones like that, the energy's dissipated over a long distance with all the bits and pieces flying off as well. It's not the sudden stop. They're the ones that really hurt. So whilst it looks spectacular, as long as nothing comes into the cockpit to get you.
The mechanics are looking at the DRS on Leclerc's car. I think we could be looking at a DRS failure. The rear wing flap has not reattached, has not gone down as it should do as soon as Ericsson touched the brake.
You okay? No idea what happened there. Okay, are you okay?